Okay, well, welcome everyone to the October South Jersey Artist Conversations. I appreciate you taking some time to come and connect with us here. The agenda for today is loose, but based on prior conversations that we've had. This is, I think, the fourth of these artist conversations, and each month we get a different group together and they talk about whatever is of interest in the field to them. And sometimes we get some good collaborations and resource sharing going on. I do have a bit of an agenda, so I am going to pull that up so that we can get started for the day. I included it on the reminder for the event, but in case you missed it, I can send the link through the chat here very quickly, and then that way you can all access it. Okay, so look in the chat if you would like to take a look at the agenda. Otherwise, I will just move us through it. So basically, I just wanted to welcome everyone here and say I appreciate you taking the time to be with us. I noticed that we have some members and quite a few people that are not members or maybe haven't been to SJCA events before. So if everyone doesn't mind, I would like to sort of start the session by having everyone go around the room, just say your name, where you're from, and what kind of work you do. We can start with, let's see, I can't see all the squares here. Let's start with Raymond.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Great. My name is Raymond Tyler. I am a visual artist, a DJ, and a curator. Right now, I'm the Black Artist Matters curator for the Noise Arts Garage. And I'm also a member of the Atlantic City Arts Commission. I'm happy to be with you this evening, and I look forward to collaborating with anyone and everyone. I look forward to meeting everyone and anyone. Thank you.
Thanks, Raymond. Okay, I'm just going to call the names here because I'm sure your screens don't look the same as mine. How about Chanel Renee? If you would like me to call you something other than what you have typed in as your name, you can change the name by using the three little dots in the upper right-hand corner of your screen.
No, that's great. Hi, my name's Chanel Renee. I'm a visual artist. I specialize in portraitures that really connects with self-discovery. I'm a Cape May County based artist, and this is my first meeting, so I'm excited to connect with everyone.
Well, welcome. We're so glad that you found us. How did you hear about the event?
Actually, I don't know if I met you, but I was at the Absecon Art in the Park event. So
yep, I probably did meet you there. So okay. I'm glad you joined us. Thank you so much. Okay, Lana?
Hi, my name is Lana Holgato. I'm a musician and a dancer. I think my friend Marie gave me the link to this event. This is my second SJCA Zoom meeting that I've gone to. I release independent music on all streaming platforms. You can find it under Lana Holgato. I also teach lessons, mostly beginner piano, ukulele lessons. I'm a dancer. I'm a Polynesian dancer for Paradise Island Entertainment. We're based out of Williamstown. I'm from Voorhees in Camden County. And I'm writing a musical. It's about the Filipino-American experience, so I'm looking for more Filipino-American artists to collaborate with. Yeah, that's what I do.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And I think we might be able to help you connect with some of those Polynesian dancers or performers. And we'll talk offline and I'll see what we can do to help. But I'm so glad you've joined us again. Thank you. Okay, who's next? We have some people that are guests. Okay, we had, Anne-Marie, thanks for joining us. We are just going around and introducing ourselves and saying where we're from and what kind of work we do. So why don't you introduce yourself?
Sure, Anne-Marie Dario, currently the president at the Ocean County Artists Guild in Island Heights, volunteer position. We are about 99% volunteer run. And that's what I do there.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us. Okay. What about Lauren? Lauren's is the name on the screen.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
I'm a South Jersey visual artist, and I run a new nonprofit in South Jersey called the South Jersey Artists Collective. So we kind of have the same acronym. And I've gone to a few of your meetings and classes and things like that. So
Great.
thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us again. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
Okay. Zach?
Hello, I'm Zach Katzen. I'm the former program director of the Atlantic City Arts Foundation. During COVID, I started my own company, Create 48, to continue to push public arts forward in Atlantic City. I have my own nonprofit. I work with a number of other nonprofits, and mainly just looking to how to advance public art in Atlantic City.
That's great. Thank you so much for joining us. I live near Atlantic City, so that's got a soft spot for me. Okay.
Well, I'm sure you've seen our murals then, or at least
absolutely. I
some
have.
of them.
I have
Yep.
a big fan. My son is a budding artist himself, and he loves to drive around and look at the murals in Atlantic City. It's one of our favorite outings.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Did I miss anyone here? If I missed you, chime in and introduce yourself. Otherwise, we can move on. Okay. Well, it looks like that's everybody for now. Hopefully we'll get a few more of the registrants popping in a little bit late. I just wanted to give, a few brief updates because there are some new things afoot at SJCA and new resources I just wanted to make you aware of so that you can take a look when you have time. We had our annual meeting last week on the 21st of October, and during that meeting, we announced that I am the new executive director of SJCA. So that is now an official thing. I've been the interim executive director since July, and I've been with the organization for about 3 years now. So very in the mix as far as what SJCA is working on, and very excited to be working with all of you to help strengthen the cultural community and move South Jersey forward. So during the annual meeting, we also had a very interesting presentation from Junli Wang from Springboard for the Arts. She talked about creative community collaboration. So we talked a lot about the benefit of artists connecting with community groups and organizations in their own local communities to help to find partnerships, expand audiences, strengthen the community, through arts and culture, even if the program may not be wholly arts and culture based. Maybe it's a food drive, or maybe it's a after school program, but there are lots of ways that the arts can help strengthen communities. So we talked a lot about that, and she did provide a worksheet that helped the group in small breakout groups to sort of get the beginnings of an action plan together about how to be more proactive in connecting with their community. And I have attached that with the agenda here, and I'll send it with the post-event email that has the recording of this for everyone. But it does have some interesting questions on it that help you to think about your place in the community, what you can offer the community, what your needs are within that community. So it's a nice way to sort of frame your thoughts about the work that you're doing and how the work you're doing is positively impacting your peers and your fellow community members. So I'll attach that for you as a tool. You can look at it whenever you have time, or if we have time here, perhaps we can address one or two of those questions and start those conversations for us. At the last meeting, we talked a lot about resources that people wanted to develop. There was some discussion of social media and resources for ways to broaden your reach and get more promotional bang for your buck from your social media platforms. And we had a lot of great information from the group there. We had some subject matter experts in the group last time. And I did take full notes on that. And those notes will also be attached. They're attached in the agenda I sent. And I'll also send them with the post-event email. I've set up a shared Google Drive where I'm going to put some of these resources, because some of them are web links and things that I can give you easily, but some of them are lists and things that we continue to keep updated and compile. For example, a list of Facebook groups that are of interest for arts, culture, and history. So we've got a list of somewhere between 60 and 80 some groups that we follow and interact with on Facebook and utilize to promote and connect with the cultural community. So that will live in that shared drive. And I'll send everybody a link to the shared drive so that you can access those things right from there. In addition to those resources in the shared drive, there are, we always send out updates and resources in our weekly bulletin. And there's now a page on sjca.net that has a PDF of all of our weekly bulletins. So you can go there and refer back to previous editions or find resources there if you're interested. The bulletin is divided up into sections that give you webinars from around the field, grants and opportunities, local updates, legislative updates, job postings, all sorts of information goes out in those bulletins. So that's just a nice place where they can live online and you can get back to them. And if you have resources that you utilize that help you or support the work you do, or you feel might be useful, you can always send those to me, and I'm happy to create new files in the shared drive or distribute those more broadly, or include them on our website for artists and your cultural colleagues to access. So I will also include a link to a survey that you can submit any resources that you have. I'm going to put it in the chat right now, but all of these things will be in the notes, so you don't have to worry about scrambling to jot down long links and things like that. And I see someone else has joined us, but it says iPhone. So I'm sure that's not your name. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Did you want to take just a second and introduce yourself? Oh, you're still on mute.
Okay, there you go. My name's Adele Demedio.
Thank you so much. Yes,
Okay.
gotcha. Thanks for coming, Adele. And Alexis Black, I see you have also joined us.
Yeah, hi, I'm sorry I'm late. I just got home. Thanks so much for the invitation.
No problem. Thanks for joining us. We were just talking about some things that we covered in the last meeting and at SJCA's recent annual meeting. And I was just explaining all of the things I'm telling you will be in the notes, so you don't need to scramble to write down long links or anything. But we had an annual meeting. We had a great session with Springboard for the Arts where we talked about community creative collaborations. There's a worksheet that helps to get the beginnings of an action plan together for you to take steps to become more interactive and more proactive in connecting with organizations and community groups and artists in your own communities. So I'm going to share all of those things with you in a shared Google Drive as well that I have set up. So I'll include some things in the chat here, but everything will come in the post-event notes as well. Now, as for this meeting, we ask at every session when you register, if you have something specific you want to ask the group or discuss during the session, to list that. And we got a lot of people saying that they love to do the networking and sharing portion of the session, just talking about what they're working on and seeing if there's any overlap or ways that we can support each other. One person did ask about hiring studio assistants. So I wanted to pose that question to the group and see if anyone has thoughts or resources or avenues that the person who's asking about ways to find and hire a good studio assistant. Does anyone have thoughts on that? No, nobody's got studio assistants here.
No,
What's the
it's a good, it's a
location?
good idea.
What's the location?
You know, I'm not sure where the person who requested that came from. The form that you submit doesn't necessarily give the location of the registrant. Is the person on the line?
Yeah, it was Chanel
Oh,
Renee.
Chanel.
I had to ask that question. I'm based in Cape May County, so yeah, I just feel I'm at the point where managing, creating work, painting, and promotion is kind of overlapping. And I really like to focus my attention on the creative part and seeing where I can get support in other ways to move my business forward. So yeah, I've been considering a studio assistant or, just a marketing or personal assistant. So
There might be some paid internship availability through Stockton. You might want to reach out to their intern program, and then ACC does have a campus down there, but I don't know how big it is. But there could be some overlapping paid internship work programs through ACCC in the arts department as well.
okay, thank you, Zach. That's great. That's a great
Sure.
suggestion.
Yeah, Stockton is very good, and they have very active, and they're always looking for opportunities for students. So definitely.
That's true. Yeah, we just moved our offices to Stockton, and we definitely have a great pool of interns to draw from being on site there. We also, Chanel, have connections with Rutgers Camden and Rowan University, and they also, have lots of internships, always looking for lots of internships to help out the students. So if you have, when you're ready to hire, if you have a short description, and contact information that you want me to share, I'm happy to do that and get that to some of our groups and spread that around widely so that you can see what you get back as far as applicants.
Wow, that's really great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Okay, so that was the only specific topic that was suggested other than the networking and sharing of what we're working on. So before we get to the sort of roundtable share out, is there anyone that has a topic that they want to specifically ask the group about?
I guess is there any grant opportunities or things like that that are ending or coming due, or applications that, I might have missed previously that, we would have to get on before the next meeting?
Right. So grant applications, there are lots of them. Big deadlines that are approaching. I can direct you to the sjca.net website. We keep all of the grants that we collect from around the field that come from all of those different email sources, and we try and keep them in a central location here. And we list the deadlines with them as well. So I'm going to share my screen real quickly just so I can show you guys this in case you haven't seen the grant section of the website. You find it under resources and information on sjca.net, and you can go to grants and other resources. And then there are several other areas of resources available. But it looks like there are some specific grants. I'm not sure that there's anything that would apply to Stockton necessarily. There are some Live Music Society grants for music venues. There are some library. It doesn't look like there are any there was a lease. Did anyone recently lease a new space or expand space that they're currently leasing? Because there was a New Jersey Economic Development Association loan or grant that you could apply for some forgiveness from any new lease of new space. So I know that one was coming up. There does not really appear to be any, any other big deadlines looming that aren't very specific to particular areas of the arts. Does anyone look to the grants list on sjca.net to find opportunities? Yes? Okay, good. Great. We get information all the time, Zach, and whenever there is a looming deadline for a grant that we think a lot of our members are interested in, we will send out an e-blast to let everyone know specifically. We also always put that in the bulletins and keep it on the website as well. So we try and keep everything as up to date as possible so that those are dynamic resources for you. But if you can't find something that you're looking for, please let me know and I can find the information.
Yeah, I mean, I have been looking. I seem to be in a weird position where I started the business during COVID. So by date, I'm not applicable for a number of grants because I'm not a 501c3. I'm not applicable for a number of grants because I don't have the funding to have an actual storefront yet. I'm not eligible for any of the grants. So I haven't found any I actually am eligible for yet. Just a lot
Right.
that I'm not, unfortunately.
Have you thought or explored the idea of partnerships in applying for grants so that you aren't the only entity, but maybe you are a component of another nonprofit that's applying for the grant, that you could partner with them in some way?
Yes, I have, because I do have a nonprofit that's not related to the arts. It's it's for skateboarding, Skate AC, to build skate parks in Atlantic City.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I could technically partner with that entity and use the 501c3 status to then do art projects through it, but I'm just not sure of the legality of it. And, I haven't even had access to accountants because of PPP loans. No accountants will take on new customers. So it's been tough to get advice or figure out how to navigate it.
The South Jersey Artist Collective, that's kind of what we do is we help underwrite the grants for artists. So we work as the 501c3 in order to, write the grants for the Cultural Society and things like that.
Okay, that would be great to talk more.
Fantastic. Yeah, do you want to take a few minutes and tell us a little bit about the Artist Collective? I would definitely be interested in knowing a little bit more about what you guys do and what you've been up to.
Well, we just started. So because of COVID and getting the 501c3 during COVID, it's taken us about 1 year to get certified, but we have been doing projects and writing grants since from the second you apply, you're eligible to start functioning as a nonprofit. So far we've worked on the Inside Out project with the artist Sjca, taking photographs of 200 kids in Woodbury. And then we'll put them as a mural throughout the city. The other projects we've been working on are exactly this type of thing where we write the grants as the nonprofit. We're doing one in Burlington County for a comic.
I'm sorry, you broke up a little bit. You're doing one in Burlington County for a...
It's called Blackbeard. I'm sorry. A comic book or graphic novel.
Okay.
So the artist has created this graphic novel and he wants to tour and give comic book classes to all 16 libraries in Burlington County. And the South Jersey Artist Collective wrote that grant with him. That's fantastic. We wrote another one for Gloucester County. Thank you. Doing art classes. So we go to nonprofits like Catholic Charities, the Hispanic Family Center, and we run art programs with working artists.
Fantastic. Well, it sounds like you have been very busy for just starting during the pandemic as well. But we're trying.
We really wanted to. we really wanted to bridge that divide between an artist being able to get grants and be able to work within their community in nonprofit projects that really help the artist and help the community. So as an artist, I felt like there was a missing link for me.
Right. Do you
Whereas
have a
like
website?
organizations weren't. We don't have a website, but we're on Facebook and Instagram.
Right.
We're still working on our website. So
Wonderful.
and we're just South Jersey Artists Collective. So your two last letters switched.
Great. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about the collective or what they've been working on, or how can people get involved in the collective? Is it a membership organization or?
That's the next phase of what we're working on, is to get the artists in the group. So we're going to be working on doing our art events as well as our critiques and art shows. So that's the next phase of the organization. It's coming this coming year. So
wonderful. And you're the South Jersey Artists Collective. So does that mean you're focusing on the 8 southern counties specifically, or what is your geographic?
Everything below
boundary?
Burlington.
Okay.
Burlington and below. So
wonderful. Great. So might there be some connection for you and Zach to talk offline then and potentially collaborate on a project?
Absolutely.
In Atlantic City? Okay, wonderful.
Absolutely.
Then let's make sure that we exchange your contact information after the event. And if everyone in the call is okay with it, I can distribute the emails of everyone that's here in the group with the post-event email so that you can contact each other directly if you have questions or want to follow up with anyone after the call.
Great, thank you.
Okay,
thank
wonderful. All right. Does anyone else want to talk in any more detail about what they're working on? We've got Lana, who's writing a musical. I'd like to hear a little bit more about what you're doing with that and who you're collaborating with writing a musical and trying to launch that. Seems like more than a one-person job. So can you tell us how you're approaching that?
Yeah, so it kind of started. I've done musical theater all through high school and college, and I keep writing songs that accidentally sound like they could be in musicals. So I was like, okay, why don't I just do it and write the musical? And I have 2 songs written, but I asked a bunch of my friends who I went to college with if they wanted to collaborate, but I ended up deciding that I wanted to make it like a Filipino American story. And so naturally, like all the characters, or most of the characters in the musical are Filipino American, and most of my friends who are involved in musical theater are white. So like I need people who can play the characters, and I want other Filipino Americans to like weigh in on the story, because I don't want it to just be based off of my experiences. So right now, I'm working with my one friend from college. I went to TCNJ, who's half Chinese American. So we kind of have similar experiences there, but I really want to I want to make more connections and collaborate with more like Filipino American artists who are interested in musical theater.
Have you tried reaching out to any cultural groups that are for Filipino Americans and not necessarily those interested in musical theater, but just the community groups that are specific to that background?
Yeah, I was thinking about it, but I haven't yet. I was in my college's Filipino club, so I was thinking about doing that. And I know some people who went to Rowan from their Filipino club, so that's on my list of things to do.
Yeah, we might be able to help you find some resources through the Cultural Asset Map project. So I will make sure to follow up with you offline about that and try and get you some community connections. If not, find some musical theater performers that might be interested in helping.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else want to share what they've been working on? No?
I could talk about one of the mural projects. I have
Sure.
I have a ton of projects I could talk about. One of them I'm working on that I have applied for a grant for, but I'm still would like to apply for others. I started a program in Atlantic City called the Atlantic City Historical Mural Project to tell the history of Atlantic City through public art and through the murals. And we've completed 3 already in the series, but one I'm working on now is the history of what's called Snake Alley in Atlantic City. There was a big LGBTQ gay and lesbian movement in that time period of the late 60s, early 70s, that they shut down the bars in New York and they raided those bars. But Atlantic City's clubs actually fought and went to the Supreme Court to stay open, and they won. And it became known as sort of a safe haven or mecca for gay and lesbian entertainment nightlife. And this one street in Atlantic City was known for it. And there's a deep history, goes back to the 1800s. There we have the Miss America parade. So there's a lot of history in regards to it. So I've been connecting with Stockton, with the different LGBTQ organizations. And I was able to talk to some of the older members who are in their 80s and 90s, and they worked and some of these clubs and people like Louise Mack that was featured in Boardwalk Empire and like back in the 20s. So in having these conversations, they would tell me, oh, you have to talk to this guy and this guy. And one of the guys I went to go talk to died the next day, and I didn't get to talk to him. And it really made me think about how these stories and a lot of this history will be told for the last time during the discussion of this project. And I'm working with the Stories of AC in Stockton and an anthropology professor to try to add a part of the mural project to be informed, but the whole mural project will be informed by the stories that we collect. And we're going to try to collect these stories and have them tie into the mural project. So there'll be like maybe a QR code or something that you can then go to, and it'll link to a sub-site that has all these interviews, a collection of the story, the meaning, the history of it, and what it was inspired, how the mural was inspired, and different elements of it through that. So
that's fantastic.
we're still looking for funding, some funding sources, but we're pretty comfortable that we're going to be able to get funding for it. It's just more so putting together all the aspects of the project and collecting the stories and trying to pull it all together.
And how are you collecting the stories? Are you doing oral history interviews individually, or are you asking the community if there are community members that have stories to share? How are you finding these folks that you're getting their stories from?
Initially, it's just me I'm in the streets every day. So I'm talking to everybody. Do you know this? Do you know that? And then they connect me to somebody, and it just kind of goes from there. And that's where it led me to having these conversations and then finding out that unfortunately that person had passed away. And I said, this needs to be done on a much more, professional level than I'm able to accomplish alone. And that's when I reached out to Stories of AC, and Stockton is lucky enough to have an anthropology professor named Lori Green, who's also the founder of Pride AC. So she's expressed interest in helping get this project done and helping collect these stories as well. It's right exactly sort of what their organization wanted to do. They wanted to get a marker made for the street, but having a mural obviously is much more impactful.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like a fantastic project. I definitely want to keep up to date on that. And I'd like to, with our mapping project, that is one of the components, is that we want to collect stories from community members about the value of the cultural assets that, support their neighborhoods and their communities. And that's it's a tricky thing to find, find the stories and figure out how to capture them and use them well and archive them and make them accessible to the public. All of those things are lots of moving pieces. So I'd, love to have an offline conversation about that with you at some point when you're deep in the weeds of your story collecting.
Yeah, we're 3 murals in now. We have the Madam Sarah Spencer Washington mural on MLK and Atlantic, to be able to tell her story, through art, and to inform more people about who she is and what she did is really amazing. We have the Bacharach Giants and Pop Lloyd mural that tells the story of the history of the Negro League teams in this area and the players. That's on Massachusetts and Atlantic that just finished. And we have a mural in Pleasantville that talks about the history of Pleasantville, Max Manning, a famous pitcher, the Ralph Peterson, the mayor. So, it's a lot of history and work prior to the mural and to inform the mural work. So,
great. Those are fantastic projects. Very, very interesting work. Thanks for sharing that.
Sure.
Okay. Does anybody else want to share? Raymond, what are you working on in the Brady Bunch living room?
Right now I'm waiting on some pork chops and applesauce.
Oh man, you're lucky.
You see, you have to be a certain age to know what that joke is about. Anyway, I have a few things that I'm working on, but two things I'd like to bring up now is I'm trying to narrow it down to two. Okay, so November 28th, I'm curating an event at the Arts Garage called Thanks for Hip Hop, and I actually was going to be reaching out to Zach. Hip hop was like the last, one of the last great cultural movements of the 20th century. And a lot of people don't know that Atlantic City, South Jersey, does have people who have created hip hop for years and years and years, from recorded music to dance to art, to other aspects of the culture. So we're going to celebrate that on the 28th. And then I just met with Michael Cagno and his team today to discuss the annual holiday party, and I'll be working with them to curate that. And one of the things we're going to do on that event is I'm going to be working with the Atlantic City Arts Commission to identify as many as 4 artists to display at the Arts Garage from the beginning of September to the end of the year. So if anybody would like more information about the holiday party, please contact me. And of course, we want South Jersey Cultural Alliance to come and be festive with us.
Sure.
Or, if I don't know if you have an annual holiday party, but if anybody
For
is
myself.
looking to partner,
We have a very
but
small
if any arts organization is looking to partner for their holiday party this year, please contact me.
What a
We
great
got
idea.
lot of
A
space.
collective South Jersey arts and culture holiday party.
Yes, so please let me know. And even if you don't want to partner, contact me, and you can come because it's free. So all you have to do is show up. But we'd like to know who you are. We'd like to partner with you. Like I said, I'm looking to partner with anyone and everyone that makes sense. So.
Yeah, I would definitely love to be involved in that, and let me know what you're working on. If you want help, getting the word out, if you're putting out a call for artists, or if you want to spread information about the event itself or anything like that, I can certainly help with those aspects of it and work with you as you develop it. If SJCA can get involved in any way or help out, just let me know.
And I'm always in for whatever hip hop events you got going on. I always, I'll bring D Don through.
Zach, I do need you to sit on the panel to discuss your top 5 favorite MCs and your top 5 favorite hip hop albums. So
you know that I'll be there for that.
I'll get your your current contact information, and then we can chat about that offline. But that's the Sunday after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. So Zach, it looks like you're making out like a bandit on this call. You're getting connections all over the place. I'm glad it's been being fruitful and that we're able to share this kind of information. That's why these kinds of conversations are really good.
I would just say one of the other things I was looking to do, that I have a proposal into the city of Atlantic City, and we're just looking to get a little more funding and to put together a better package. But we're trying to create the annual Jacob Lawrence Artist of the Year Award for Atlantic City. That would recognize an Atlantic City or local artists from Atlantic City and their contributions to the arts as the Artist of the Year. They would receive a plaque. Their name would go on a plaque that would stay in City Hall each year, would be added to it. And the winner would receive at least a $5,000 package from the city to continue to create public art for the next year, for that upcoming year. And I'd love to try to put together a really good prize package for the artists with art supplies, gift certificates from, businesses, just things that the artist can really just focus on the art and take the stress of, bills, food, things like that off their shoulders as much as possible. And I'd like to, try to make that annual and get buy-ins from casinos or local businesses to try to support that. And I don't think it'd be too big a lift to do.
Great. Raymond, can we share your chat question? Because that might be of interest to the others. Raymond is asking Zach how he finds space because he's always looking for indoor spaces.
I could say it's always a challenge, and it's another thing I'm working on. I have working with a developer here and a grant writer, and we're trying to develop we have a space, we have a property owner, and we're trying to put together all the sources to develop an artist collective co-work space here in Atlantic City. And we're probably about 50% of the way there. But that's been our goal since the beginning, because not having our own space means that we're at the mercy of everybody else. And it's very tough to create consistency, even for audience. If we're at a casino one week and we're at, a bar another week and we're over here this time. So it is a challenge, for sure. And we're hoping to solve that soon.
Great.
Okay.
I'd love to hear more about that as well, and the kind of, who's working with you on the project and where you're at with that, because I think that would be a great resource for the community for sure.
Yeah, and we could definitely use some help in getting it over the final stages for sure.
Okay, well, sounds like we have a lot to chat about, so I'll share you an email after this, and we can maybe have a separate meeting and talk about all the individual things, and I'll see if there's not other partners I can point you towards that might be helpful in moving the projects forward.
All right, thank you.
Great. Okay, anybody else have something to share? Equal time for everyone. Alexis?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. So I'm a nature artist, and I print trees that have come down either because of storms or because, like, due to invasive species or any kind of disease that gets into a tree. It's a danger, like, to people or to structures. And I take a cross section of the trees and I print them. And so I'm always looking for new trees to learn about and try printing. A lot of what I've been printing are ash and pine trees. So I know in South Jersey we got a lot of pine, but I don't ever want to take a tree down, like a healthy tree. But when trees come down, I just have kind of been building my network of folks who, like, hey, I heard someone had a tree come down that's of this type, and I realized that's kind of an unusual artist request, but
Have you
anytime.
thought of calling tree services and asking them to tip you off when people are calling
Yeah.
for trees to be removed?
Yeah, I have a friend who works with one, and so yeah, I've been doing that, which has been really helpful. Yeah, so that's something I'm working on building. I'm sorry, I have a kitten who's very interested in all of you who would love
That's
to.
okay. I saw her furry little head. My cat is usually like walking back and forth as well. They
sorry.
make good office mates.
Winona and Mullica Hill in Gloucester County were hit by the tornadoes, and there are so many trees down, and they're really fascinating because they're so big, and some haven't been down for like 100 years, and you can see all the roots. And so if you feel like driving over there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. I didn't even think of that, but yeah, there were so many down trees. The damage to the area might give you an awful lot to look at.
Okay.
Have
Thank
you are you from the Atlantic City area? Have you tried some of the wildlife refuges like the Forsyth and some of the other outdoor environmental spots that might have different kinds of trees?
No, I haven't done that yet. I've mostly thus far been, just relying on family and friends. And when, they have trees come down, they call me, which is helpful. But yeah, you said it was Forsyth?
The Forsyth, it's a national wildlife refuge. So it's
Okay.
marshlands, and they have some nature trails that you can walk through. But if you look at the cultural asset map, we do include lots of parks, state parks, and outdoor environmental spaces. There are, I think, probably a number of places there that you might be able to look for different kinds of trees other than pine to use for your work.
Okay, great.
And we don't have a ton of environmental members. We do have several, but I can put out some feelers to them too and see if they have any thoughts on other avenues that might get you some trees that can have a new life in your work.
Thank you. That would be great. Yeah, because like you said, giving it a new life. I really try and make that a part of the conversation that I have with folks when I talk about the art I make, and also, how critical trees are to combating climate change. So that's part of the message in my art. All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you. I was not eavesdropping, but I did overhear several of your conversations with interested patrons at the Absecon Arts in the Park event, and it is really an interesting philosophy that you have behind the work. It's an interesting take on it, and definitely unique. So I can see why people are interested in it. Thanks for sharing it with us.
Thank you.
Okay, so we've got about 10 minutes left. At this point in the meeting, we can continue the sharing, or we can close 10 minutes early. It's up to you. I don't have any other updates at this point as far as SJCA or specific funding or anything along those lines. But if there's any other topics that anyone wants to address, I'm happy to keep it open for the remainder of the session. Adele, you look like you want to say something.
I know what I mean.
You look like you're
No, I'm
thinking
actually-
about sharing something.
I am, that's why I'm on here, but I just have to figure out how to get it together, put it on paper first. So our next meeting, I'll have it together.
Sounds good. Okay. And if you
it's
have
a
any questions,
community project. So
great.
Where I live, there's a lot of artists in the area. You wouldn't know it, but they're there. I'm finding out. So
you want to give us a sneak preview? Not all the details, but just kind of tell us a little snippet about what you're thinking of working on. We might be able to help you form that plan and get it on paper.
Well, I'd like to, I live in Haddon Heights. So Station Avenue is like their little main street. And there's a couple times that groups in Haddon Heights have tried to get some type of art show going or something to stimulate the area to make it more artistic. I don't know how to put it, but they tried. I participated in a couple of them, but it never really went anywhere. So In fact, I have someone across the street that she does a lot of clay work, and I just know by looking in the window, she has a big studio when I walk the dog, and then I'm on the opposite side. I paint, and I always have the window open so people know I'm painting. And but there's other people around. It just never went anywhere. And I'm kind of, well, they have all these events in Haddon Heights. They should close off the roads, and they have these beer and wine festivals and spaghetti dinners. And it works out pretty well because it's small, it's contained. And I figure, well, that would be kind of nice, because when people drive down the White Horse Pike and they look over to Station Avenue, they will stop, and there possibly, something could happen. I was involved in the one in Haddonfield. I had an art supply store in Haddonfield, so I was involved in that, and they were a little bit too conservative for me. I thought it should be more. Well, actually, someone said to me, we don't want a circus atmosphere. And I'm like, really? It's about the enjoyment, right? It's about being serious, but at the same time, enjoyment. So, I worked with them, and it was okay, but it never really went anywhere because they didn't really have a plan that made any sense. And I'm not even going to go into that. And I just thought, wow, I'm in Haddon Heights. It's smaller. It's more condensed in that little area. The township is willing to block off that part of Station Avenue to have events. So it would be kind of nice to bring artists in, not only from Haddon Heights, but from all over the area, and exhibit their work. I mean, I don't want it to be a circus, but at the same time, I don't want it to be, it's not about being stuffy.
So is part of the project finding a way to connect with artists that are local to the area around you so that you can collaborate on putting this kind of little art show together? Or is the project getting the artists to put the event together?
I don't think it's a problem getting a hold of the artists as much as I really don't know where to begin.
Planning
planning it.
fair.
Yeah, right. And since it's a nonprofit type of thing, it's just getting the township, I don't know where to go with all that yet.
Okay.
I mean, it was always, when I was involved in them, there was somebody else working on it. So.
Right. So you have experience, but not necessarily in the full scope of the entire planning of the event.
Right.
Okay. Well, I think that, we do have connections with lots of municipalities that have events like this happening, and groups that host events like this. I'm sure that we can find somebody that can kind of help you get started and be a sounding board, kind of mini mentor you through the process if it's something that you do want to pursue. So I'll look through our list, and I'll think about some people that might be able to at least answer some questions for you and get you started on what you need to do to put something like that together.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm sorry, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, we can connect you with the County Cultural and Heritage Office as well, and they might be able to have additional resources or ideas for how those events can come together, because many of their re-grantee groups do events like that.
Is that the place at Cooper River? Is that the Cultural Heritage Society and on Cooper River?
For Camden County,
Camden County, right?
Yeah, they are actually part of the Camden County College campus. So I'm not sure where their office is located, but they're under the Camden County College.
Okay. I mean, I do know them because I worked with them when I was teaching creative arts in Camden. So I didn't even think of that, going to them, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not a non-for-profit, they might not be able to fund you, but they certainly, have experience with, these kinds of events and projects like that. And they might be able to point you in the right direction to somebody that you can talk to that's planned events like this, and they can help kind of walk you through the process.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, they just recently tried something where they wanted to show, they had quite a few empty stores on Station Avenue, and they wanted to put artwork in the windows It was in their newspaper. So people could see artwork, right? They
Right.
want, but that never really went anywhere. And it wasn't really a good idea because there was really no shade. The heat would get to them, and it was a very good idea. I mean, it was a good idea, but it wasn't a good idea. And I thought, well, there's a lot of artists here, and instead of people, let the people are willing to buy artwork that's made by other artists, rather than a print. And if they could see that, and maybe I could get, well, I'm not even going to go into the other details. I have to start somewhere, and I don't really know exactly where to
Right.
start and who to talk to. So that's what I would.
Yeah. It's a lot to think about. We can definitely find you someone to talk to who's planned events like that, so that you can get started and make your to-do list. And if you need extra help along the way, we can certainly help, get the resources.
Sure. That would be
directed
really
to
great.
you.
That would great. Actually, would be
Okay.
great.
Great. I have a couple people that I'm thinking of right now that I think would be good for you to talk to. Matt Dixon with the Sjca Arts Alliance. I think that he would be great to talk to. They just did Arts in the Park, and he certainly has a lot of experience with events like that. They do plein air events, as well as Art in the Park events where there are people selling, selling more of the work. There is a plein air event too happening in Runnymede. There's artist Kenneth Leap
Oh,
is
wow,
putting that
really?
together. So that is in our most recent newsletter. So if you want to take a look at, if you didn't get it in your email inbox, if you look at sjca.net, our newsletter archive, it was this week's newsletter that information was in there. He's looking for artists to come participate in his plein air event. So that might be a nice way to sort of get talk to him at the event and kind of get a feel for some of the things that you might need to pull together to have an event like that with all the artists.
I mean, I actually thought about that, and I thought that would be a great idea in Haddon Heights because of all the older buildings and houses they have, and the trees, the park and all.
Great.
So that's
Well,
really nice. Yeah, I will
definitely
definitely get a hold of him.
I'll connect you guys all via email, and you can chat with each other. I was wanting to connect Matt and Ken anyway, because they're both doing plein air events. So I thought that would be
Great.
a good conversation. So I'll include you in that as well. Okay, and that's time, everyone. So we have taken an hour just to share with each other and kind of connect and find some good resources, especially for Zach. He really made out well during the session, which is great. I'm so pleased to see that. And I'll definitely follow up with all of you after the event on the specific things that we talked about. And I'll send that post-event email with the recording, as well as some bullet notes from the session. And at any point in time, whether we're in one of these conversations or not, you can always reach out to me if you have questions or are looking for partners or collaborators or resources of any kind. Okay. Anyone else have anything to say before we wrap? No?
Just thank you.
Okay,
Yeah, thank you.
wonderful.
Thank you.
Well, everyone enjoy the rest of your evening and your weekend as well. Have a happy Halloween. And hopefully we will see you next month. Our next call will be on November 30th. So look for the invitation and information on that. And we will see you next month, if not before. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.